Hi, I'm Amanda and welcome to All Access Eats. Some of you may already know me as an actress, a filmmaker, and the daughter of Meatloaf. But what you might not know about me is that I have a passion for cooking, and I especially love cooking for my friends and family. See, I grew up traveling the world on tour with my dad, and some of my earliest childhood family meal memories come from those that we shared backstage with Dad's band and crew. And some of my earliest culinary experiences were learning to cook those comfort foods from chefs all around the world. So I'm here to share some of those stories and those recipes with all of you. Hey everybody, welcome back to All Access Eats. I am so excited for today's episode, and you want to know why? Because it is edible gourd season, motherfuckers. I am so excited. My boyfriend has finally come to terms with the fact that as soon as fall hits, I turn into a basic bitch. I'm not gonna lie. I love fall. I love all things pumpkin spice. I love pumpkins and squashes and everything that goes with it, and Halloween and Thanksgiving and all of these warm, cozy foods. But I am especially excited to finally get to cook with the fruits of our summer labor, our beautiful butternut squash from our garden. It's gorgeous. I'm so excited. And this recipe that I'm going to show you today, it's one of my favorites. It's sweet, it's savory, kids are going to love it, family's going to love it. But one of the bonuses is that just the recipe by itself is vegan. So anybody with any dietary restrictions most likely can eat this too. Super excited, so let's get started. So here it is, my beautiful squash from my garden. I haven't done anything to it yet other than I've sliced it in half and scooped out all of the seeds and the stringy bits from the center. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna make some cross hatches through this main part of this meaty bit. This is gonna help for the olive oil and the salt and the aromatics I'm about to put in. Next step, we're just gonna drizzle some olive oil on top lightly. All right, so I'm gonna rub the olive oil in. Just make sure that it gets nice and everywhere. Next step, super simple, plenty of salt. Now this is for a butternut squash soup that I'm making, so I want it to be more on the savory side. Butternut squash is, so it's got a lot of sugars and it's really sweet on its own. It's a really great substitute for anything that you would make with sweet potatoes too. I really love a good butternut squash casserole. And then in that case, I would put brown sugar and cinnamon on top. It's yummy. Fill these holes with marshmallows. Oh! All right. I get way too excited about gourds. I can't help it. So next up, I just have some beautiful fresh aromatics also from the garden. So I've got rosemary, thyme, and sage here. And I'm just going to tear these up and just sprinkle these yummy, yummy aromatics on top. I think the first time I ever had butternut squash, that I can really remember tasting it anyway, because I'm sure I had it when I was little growing up in New England. But one year we were in England for Thanksgiving. Now, of course, the British don't celebrate Thanksgiving. Why would they? But we were there, and Dad and Mom, always being one about holidays and family, decided that that night Dad rented out a full-on castle with minstrels and a juggling jester and the whole 9 yards. And so we weren't going to have a traditional American Thanksgiving. We were going to have this very unique medieval European castle Thanksgiving dinner. And of course those chefs don't know what, they don't know about turkey and stuffing and, sweet potato pie. But the chef there made a really awesome stuffed butternut squash like I was talking about, and that was it for me. I was over the moon about butternut squash and all other gourds. Here we go. This is it. So all the aromatics, salt, olive oil. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the oven at 375 degrees for 45 minutes. And when it's done, we'll make our soup. Here they are, my beautiful butternut squash, roasted, fresh out of the oven. They smell amazing with all that rosemary and sage and thyme. I'm just gonna put them off to the side for a couple minutes so they can cool down so I can handle them. And in the meantime, we're gonna start building the rest of the soup. So like I said, this particular recipe that I have is a vegan recipe. So instead of butter, I'm going to use olive oil. Of course, if you want to, you can use butter, but I'm keeping it vegan today. So this is a whole leek that I've washed and rinsed and chopped up. Only the white and light green parts. So we just want these leeks to get nice and soft. I'm just going to add some salt in there. So if you're not familiar, if you haven't used leeks a lot, they're very much, they're in the onion family, so similar to kind of a spring onion. They have a little bit more sweetness to them, which is why I like to use leeks in vegetable soups, potato soup, butternut squash soup. It's just more of a milder onion flavor. Next up, I'm going to add, this is as usual, a combination of seasonings. So in here I have all of those really warm fall spices, cinnamon, nutmeg, allspice, some turmeric, some paprika. I'll put all of the measurements on my video description for you guys. I know you guys were surprised by my basic bitch confession. I can't help it. The leaves start to change color, and I will do anything for a pumpkin spice latte. I don't care what you say, pumpkin spice is delicious. Because you know what? Also, for everybody who's like, it doesn't taste like pumpkin pie, but that's because it's not pumpkin pie latte, it's a pumpkin spice latte. All it is all the spices that go into a pumpkin pie. So nutmeg, cinnamon, what else did I say? Some allspice, some brown sugar. It's delicious. And if you're hating on pumpkin spice, you're just hating on it to hate on it. I'm a basic bitch for pumpkin spice, man. Next step, as usual, too much garlic. And then also, that is a lot of ginger. So we're only going to use some of this ginger we cut up here. So good, so healthy. So cozy and super easy. Let all that rest for a second until I can really make sure that ginger's coming through and that garlic's coming through. And next up is vegetable broth. So I'm just gonna add enough vegetable broth to cover all of this. So that was about 2 cups of vegetable broth to start with. Let all of that kind of come together and come up to a simmer. All right, so now that the squash is out of the oven, fully roasted, I'm gonna flip it over and we're just gonna get this peel off. Now I'm just gonna kind of roughly, it's already cooked all the way through really nicely, so we're just gonna chop it up a bit. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this all into my pot. And now that I know how much butternut squash is in that pot, now I'm gonna go ahead and finish making sure there is enough liquid in there. So now that's gone from 2 cups to about 3.5 cups of vegetable broth. I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper to taste. Now that all my liquids are in there, I don't have to worry about pepper burning. Going to add another pinch of salt. And I'm just gonna let these 2 bay leaves sit right on top here. I'm gonna bring everything in this pot up to a simmer. I'm gonna leave it without the lid on because I do want some of the liquid to evaporate. I want this to be a really thick, rich, almost creamy soup, but without the cream. I'm gonna let it simmer with the lid off and just kind of let all of these come together in a little pot party for about, not the kind of party you're thinking of. It's a vegetable party. I'm gonna let all of this hang out for about 20 minutes on a nice simmer, and then we'll come back with our final step and tasting it. So excited. So here is my soup that has been simmering and coming together for about 20 minutes. First thing I'm gonna do is just pull out these bay leaves. The next step is the handy dandy immersion blender. So I'm just gonna take this, put it right in there. And I'm gonna start on the lowest speed. Turn it up to about half speed now, and all the way up. For everybody watching at home, if you don't have an immersion blender, you can totally pour everything that was in the pot into a big regular standing blender, and it will do the trick, and it might even be faster than using the immersion blender. So there is my finished butternut squash soup. As you can see, mine is really thick, hearty, really similar to like a potato chowder. If you want to, you can thin it out by adding a little bit more vegetable broth. You can also put it through a cheesecloth and kind of strain out some of the chunkier bits. I like mine really hearty and thick like this, almost creamy like I said, but it's 100% vegan, which is awesome. So I'm gonna go ahead, let's give it a try. Right now, it's 100% vegan. I can't help myself. I am going to add my favorite, a nice big dollop of creme fraiche right on top. If you're not familiar with creme fraiche, it's like a French sour cream. And then I'm just gonna finish this off with, let's pick a nice one. There we go. For serving your friends. How beautiful is that? And of course, you don't need the creme fraiche. I just like it. Let's have a taste. Warm and cozy and all of the fall things. So I've got the ginger and the garlic and the sweetness of the butternut squash soup, but that sweetness isn't overpowering because of all those awesome spices and things we added to it. It's just a warm, cozy bowl of comfort and goodness. So I hope you all enjoy this. Go out and celebrate gourd season and make yourself an awesome bowl of butternut squash soup. Thank you so much for watching this episode of All Access Eats. Please subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think in the comments, and come back next time for more stories and recipes from the road. I'm gonna go eat my soup.